4 legs are much quicker than 2. Why would it be quicker? Like, we can't outrun anything.
Yeah.
No, but I mean...
Well, you're pretty fit, Aaron. I mean, you probably could. To be fair.
You're intimidating me, so... Oh, my God. Did you need to bring your guns out? Oh, my
Look,
God.
this is about evolution. I wanted to prove that gays are the ultimate evolution. I did not veep this morning. This is just adaptation.
Hello! Welcome to Believe. I'm Phil Green.
And I'm David Ferguson.
And this is a podcast about the world's craziest myths, mysteries, and conspiracy theories. Sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes we're actually telling you the truth. And actually today, I think we're telling the truth.
This is a belter. This is a massive one, isn't it?
It is. I love this. It's fascinating. It's beautiful. I'm so excited for you to be seeing it.
We've mentioned this a number of times on the podcast before, and we're finally getting around to actually covering it.
Yes.
With a self-proclaimed expert, we have to say.
Yeah, that was actually kind of a buzz.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, where can people follow us if they want to follow us on social media?
We're all over social media. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky, although I've been locked out of Blue Sky again. So it will happen.
Yeah, if you want to DM us on some of the other socials.
Yes.
Because we keep having problems with Blue Sky. But do message us on Blue Sky if you want to. It's where you can tell us what you think about the conspiracies and the myths and the mysteries we've been talking about. Comment, tell us what you think about the photos, videos, stuff we put up. Follow us. We try to keep you up to date with what we think, and we want to know what you think as well, don't we?
Oh, yes, because this is a conversation. It's a community. We want to know what you think. We want you involved. This is how we do it. We do it for you. And we're having such a great time doing it.
Absolutely. And if you want to tell us what myths and conspiracies and myths that you want us to cover on this podcast, you can email us at believeconspiracypod@gmail.com, or you can DM us as well. Let us know. We will try and cover it for you.
Yes, we will.
Absolutely. And if they want extra episodes of the podcast every single week, I just said, how can they do that?
Oh my goodness, we've got you covered. We are on Patreon.
For £5 a month, you can get an extra episode of this podcast every single week. It's where we talk about the more niche stuff, the kind of stuff we're not allowed to talk about on the main pod, and some of the more controversial things.
Oh, yes, because YouTube bans us for stuff.
Yes. We've just put out episodes on Room 237, The Shining Conspiracy. We put out episodes on the Enfield Poltergeist. And this week, we put out the episode on whether or not Katy Perry really went to space.
That was fun. That was great.
A lot of fun. That's the second Katy Perry episode of this season. You are welcome, people.
Oh my gosh.
Check it out.
We got to do a third.
Yes.
What could we do for Katy Perry?
I mean, she's the gift that keeps on giving.
She is.
Where can people go to find Patreon?
Patreon.com/BelievePod.
Patreon.com/BelievePod.
That. Patreon.com/BelievePod.
Yeah, go there. You can see all the episodes we've got out. You also get early access to the main feed and ad-free listing. It's well worth, and you get to support the pod.
Yes, and we need your support. We
actually do need your support. So please become a patron. We promise you'll get value for money, won't you?
Yes, because we're just starting what the extra stuff is. We've loads of good ideas. It's fun.
Absolutely. We're going to be doing some live shows in London.
Yes, and we're so excited about them. We're in a wonderful venue called the Bedford in Balham, and that's on the 15th of June. Come see us. We're going to be doing 2 live shows, but it's 1 ticket.
1 ticket. You get to see both live shows back to back. There's an interval in between. You can go and buy drinks. It's a beautiful setting. We're going to have 2 fantastic guests. It's going to be a great night.
It's going to be great, and it's the biggest we've ever done.
Yes.
So be part of that.
Yeah. You can be part of history. Podcast history.
Yes.
There's a link in the show notes. You can also find a link in our bio as well. But please come along. It's a very cheap ticket, but you will get to see the magic of our live shows.
Oh, yeah. Always a great time.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited.
I'm also doing some previews of my latest stand-up show. I will be in Southampton on the 2nd of May. If you live in Southampton or anywhere near Southampton, to be honest, anywhere near the UK, please come. I need a few people more to come to that one. Also, the 16th of May, I will be in Dover. I will be in Brighton on the 30th, 31st, and May and 1st of June, Derby on the 5th of June, Chichester on the 7th of June, and on the 11th of June, I'll also be, you and I are actually going to be doing a double, aren't we, of stand-up shows, also in London. So do come along to those. We'd love to see you there.
Yes, it'd be great.
Yes. Now, George is here.
George is here. Thank God.
Thank God. He fell off a line buck this week. He's got a couple of broken ribs, and yet he's come in because he realised that you need questions answered, and that's more important than his health.
He is so good. We love you, George.
Yeah. And who is today's wonderful guest?
Rare thing. We have an expert on the subject that they're talking about. The fantastic, the fabulous, the gorgeous Aaron Twitchen.
The absolutely fantastic Aaron Twitchen. Aaron is a stand-up comedian, circus aerialist, and living stereotype. Last year, his debut book, Homo History, was a top 20 Amazon bestseller, and his solo show, Himbo, was nominated for a Brighton Fringe Award. As the UK's self-proclaimed Sugar Babes expert, he is also host of girl band deep dive podcast, Pod of Pops. He also loves vests and ill-advised pop star solo projects.
Oh, he's a man after my own heart. I mean, and it was really, really, exciting to see Aaron and Phil fight it out for who was the greater Sugar Babes. Mm-hmm.
It's the battle for the ages.
Yeah, there was blood everywhere. It
was
shocking.
It was pretty awful, actually. And what is the myth, mystery, or conspiracy that Aaron chose?
We were aquatic apes.
We were aquatic apes. Let's do this.
It's a fake. Every single bird in the sky is a robot.
It's fiction.
Doubt your government.
It's an urban legend.
If they're actually spraying something in the sky,
No way.
A stream of absurdity.
It's a total fabrication.
Welcome to the podcast, Aaron Twitchen!
Excited to be here.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm excited to talk about this.
That is good. That is good. I mean, you were actually into this, which is good, because some people just pick one randomly, but you were genuinely into this. However, normally when people come to this podcast, that's the most exciting thing that's happening in their week, understandably. However, both you and I are going to see the Sugar Babes this week.
But I'm not.
You're not.
Sorry,
no.
you weren't on the group chat.
Yeah, sorry about that. Which is monumental.
Do you know what's terrible? Actually, I had a free ticket. I had a spare ticket. I we didn't know each other.
So you had a free ticket, but now
I
you
was
don't.
digging around for who to give that ticket. Do you know when you want to go something, you just book 2 tickets and you're like, I will find a gay on the way.
Yeah.
And every other gay I knew had done exactly the same thing. And now there's a group of us going that is all people that know each other and then a ragtag, just someone that you once slept with or someone that you didn't sleep with. I'm actually going with the guy that stood me up for the Barbie movie a year ago.
Okay.
And then got back in touch like 9 months later and gaslit me into thinking I'd stood him up, and now we're friends. That's how I think friendship should blossom.
I just think that's the gay story, isn't it?
Such a beautiful
my
story.
best friends are people I dated and sorry, Phil, he is my best friend, but like people I
didn't date.
We didn't date. Well,
Not yet.
he's straight, you see, and I know, right? Like
Secretly.
Secretly straight.
I don't believe that conspiracy.
For the audio, Aaron just raised a Believe mug. Are you excited?
For the Sugar Babes?
Yep.
Yeah, kind of. So I saw them before as the original 3.
Yes.
But I just feel like
With the name, or were they
they
still under?
were.
Okay, they were.
did have the name.
Because it was, didn't they do SK?
MKS.
MKS.
Yeah.
I feel like, because I did this Sugar Babes podcast, like, while they were in the wilderness years, feel slightly responsible for the resurgence. I don't want to say it was us, but
You should take
I did
some
meet Mucha
credit.
once and she did say it was something to do with us. So, like, we have some credit to take. So I do feel like got to be supportive. But what I'm not looking forward to is it's an arena.
It is an arena,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that when I booked it.
Yeah.
I am an old man now. I had to check my tickets today because I was like, I did book a seat. I am not standing for an hour and a half. If they're going to sit on stools, I'm going to sit on a stool.
They definitely will be sitting on stools.
So
They're not going to be dancing. Let's face it.
they're
they do
choreo
actually
is
do
not
quite
good.
a bit of dancing now. I think
they?
you'll be impressed.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
they've
excited.
the choreography is they've got. I think
It's
they've got
only
really good
taken
stage
20
direction.
years. Sorry.
Yeah, it has, right? The stage direction is pretty good now. I
Is
think.
it?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
they've really worked at that.
It is impressive they stepped up to arenas, because when they did their actual comeback, and admittedly they've been operating as a 3 for like about 12 years, right?
Yeah, people
But
keep talking it as a comeback. This is
it's
the
not a
longest comeback
Yeah,
ever.
Exactly. But when they got the name back, well, they did their official comeback 2 or 3 years ago at Glastonbury.
Yes.
They were only playing small stages at that point, and now within 2 or 3 years they're playing arenas. That's quite an incredible
Yeah,
achievement.
because they're calling it like the biggest tour that they've ever done as a group.
Yeah.
And I don't think they mean that as a 3. I think they mean that across the legacy.
The life of
Yeah,
Sugar
yeah.
Babes.
But I'm surprised. I think that must just be because they're doing big event, like they've never done arenas before, which I find hard to believe because they were. But I'm assuming it's true. They definitely did tour support for Take That when they were doing stadiums.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
So the Sugar
yeah.
Babes have places, but I guess it's a headline tour. I don't know. I don't really buy into all that.
It is amazing, though, to have a legacy like that where you come back after so long and you're now selling out rooms that are so much bigger than when you were actually at your peak, in theory, in terms of the quality of the music they were releasing.
Well, I mean, yeah, but then it's like, who owns that legacy?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know it's
Fair
always
point.
so arguable.
Justice for Heidi.
Right? Heidi is
Yeah.
in my top 3,
Yeah.
but then I think they're all in my top 3, apart from obviously.
If you had to
but-
pick,
Oh my God, I know. Why do we not
Amel
like
is
Amel?
so the forgotten. Although the one I
She was very
always
beautiful, though.
I feel sorry for is Jade Ewan.
I feel sorry for Jade.
If you're talking about conspiracies, the sugar babes are the biggest conspiracy theory of everything, and every conspiracy about them is true.
Yeah.
Like, do you know the one about how Siobhan left?
Go on.
Conspiracy theory that she didn't tell anyone. She just literally went out a toilet window and then just left on a promotional tour in Japan, which is the most Irish thing a sugar babe could do.
That's an Irish
It's
goodbye,
a true
literally.
Irish goodbye. So now me and my friends, whenever we know we're going to leave a party and not tell anyone, we go, I'm going to do a Siobhan. Like, just go to the toilet and never come
Is
back.
beautiful.
But the Jade Ewan one, that's the theory that is true, is
Yeah.
that like she literally had an hour to decide if she was going to be a sugar babe. Like a member of the management came knocking on her front door and screaming through her letterbox. It was like 7 a.m. in the morning. Wake up if you want to be a sugar babe. You need to fly in an hour. And she had to like find her passport. She didn't tell her parents. And she got flown out to LA to be in the About a Girl video, not knowing who the other 2 sugar babes would be, because it was all up in the air about who had left and who was being kept.
This was when Keisha left, wasn't
When
it?
she was booted.
Okay.
But Amel had been on leave for like a month or so, and Heidi and Keisha have been performing as a 2, the new songs. So Jade's flown over to LA while Keisha's being flown back.
Wow.
She films the video and then immediately gets sent to Bruno Mars's shed at the bottom of his garden to record the vocals for the album. Like, she's basically held hostage for a week by the management team. Even her parents don't know where she is. So, like, I think Jade Ewan was trafficked. Like, I'm not saying
I had no
this is
idea. about
Andrew
that.
Tate
Kinda,
levels,
kind
but
of.
yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of the management company is called now, but like, yeah, they basically held Jade
Probably
Ewan
best that
hostage.
you don't say it.
And then they all, liable. Allegedly, I'll do a Wendy Williams. And then not only did they make her record, they didn't know what material was going to go on the album, so they made her record 2 albums worth. And then she had to learn it for like the upcoming shows, and they accidentally sent her the demo for the wrong album. So she learned the wrong album and then had to learn the real new album. And then they also set her the wrong set list for the old songs that they'd be doing. So she just had to learn way too much.
Oh,
And then she was hating on.
Okay, I take
Jade,
back
if you're
everything
watching
I've
this,
ever said about
I love
Jade.
you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had no
know.
idea.
And then she never got a chance to even really produce material because the stuff that they did got shelved.
And it all fell apart.
She was the last in, wasn't she?
She was last in.
Yeah. Sad times. But still justice for Heidi.
Still justice for Heidi.
Yeah. Okay. Conspiracies, myths, mysteries, that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts on it?
So I'm an extremely gullible person, I think.
Okay.
And I think that leans into me being susceptible to conspiracies.
Yep.
Like, I should be better at it because I like trained in psychology, which is like a science. Psychology is basically all about just tearing other people's theories down.
Yep.
So that's what you're trained to do, is just pick things apart. But I'm just a sucker for a good story, I think.
Yeah.
I will fall for anything. So I went to Coventry University because I failed my exam.
But Coventry was a good.
It is now. It's like, when I went, it was bad, but now it's gone up. It's like when you buy in a poor area and then like suddenly over the years it gets gentrified.
Yeah, I live in Walthamstow, and it went from being very, very stabby to lots of yummy mummies in about 3 years.
Congratulations.
I don't own my property, but you know.
But like,
Who does?
it's gone up in value, unfortunately for you.
Unfortunately for me.
And that's what a Coventry Uni degree is. It's gone up in value. But it had barely been turned from a polytechnic back then. So they actually, even though I failed my A levels, they offered me money to go. So I must be the most poorly educated scholarship student in the history of the world. I just got dead lucky. But there was, so I got, and now it was only doing this podcast that I realized I think I may have believed something that's not true. Because at that time I was told that the concept of werewolves comes from Coventry because it's built in a dip in the land. Which means that when there's a full moon, it affects the hormones in your head. As I'm telling you this, I realise I've been conned. But like, it affects the hormones in people's heads. So on a full moon, the people in Coventry go crazy. And like,
I have been to Coventry. I can attest to that.
yeah, like once a month, everyone in Coventry, if you live there too long, which is, I don't know, like 5 minutes. If you live there too long, then you get attuned to this monthly cycle, like nuns in a nunnery and how
Yeah,
their
yeah.
all syncs up.
They all sync up.
yeah, that's what it's like with people in Coventry. If they live there too long, they go mental. Well, they go crazy. Oh God, there's no good word for it now. I'm going to get cancelled.
Yep.
But could do with the publicity, so that's fine.
It's fine. Only from Coventry. Yeah.
Then that's where werewolves come from. But then I also think, like, what if it's just what the people in Coventry look like? And everyone's like,
Also,
oh my God, he
if
looks
the-
like a beast. And it's like, that's
If you were
fake.
told this by the people of Coventry who you've just established are mental, that may be where this has come from.
Yeah.
Because that's not your thoughts on origins of werewolves, right?
No, it's you get bit by a werewolf. That's what makes a werewolf.
If you get bitten by a person in Coventry, I assure you
become
that
a
would be a worry.
Well, there's I mean, the origins of like werewolves.
And there's a fair chance of that.
There's loads of different reasons for it. You know, from extreme hirsutism, and as a hairy man myself, I can attest that I you know, from behind I look feral. That sounded much worse than I meant it to. You know, and there's certain diseases, including kids being autistic and whatever. You know, can all get into. But I love werewolves and.
Well, you'll love Coventry.
I've got a really good friend that lives in Coventry. We're going to see Barbed Wire in a couple of weeks in the Prince Charles Cinema.
Oh, the Pamela Anderson movie.
Yeah.
I have always wanted to see that, and I don't know why I haven't got around to it because it's not hard to find.
Utter garbage, and I couldn't
It is terrible.
love it more.
But she's having a real resurgence, isn't
Oh,
she?
she's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I do want to go and see that The Last Showgirl that she's in.
Yes. And she's also in the new Naked Gun film.
Yeah, she's going to be great.
Who's in? I only saw a trailer or like a pitch for that the other day.
Leslie Nielsen. Not Leslie Nielsen.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, that's the one.
So the guy who used to do it, is he dead?
Yeah. Leslie Nielsen
Allegedly.
died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we believe it?
Nice. Now you're
Come
into
back
it.
and-
There we go.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's because I'm so gullible. Like I'll believe anything. Like
I mean, you just made up your own one there. But
I know. April Fools is such a dangerous time for me because I will absolutely fall headline and sinker. And now that social media doesn't just delete things, like people's April Fools jokes last
Yeah.
for 2 or 3
Oh yes,
days.
you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
them,
yeah.
like out of sync, so it's not you know it's not.
Yeah.
It's is this true or not?
Exactly. I once fell for one. All of the like leftover girl band members from like the noughties, like your Michelle Heatons and your
Yep.
Keely from Bewitched, they did this prank.
I work
on
with Keely
April
from
Fools.
Bewitched.
Do you?
Yeah, like 2003.
Oh, at peak. Past peak.
Yeah, and they were doing her and her sister were doing GAY that weekend, but they were still like, I mean, they weren't making money, and we were working in tele. You know, we would phone people up and ask for charity money.
What for them?
No, but I remember.
Can you donate £5 to save a member of Bewitched?
Save a bit of which member. Yeah.
Denim doesn't buy itself, darling.
no, because they become their
Jade
own.
needs that now.
Oh, absolutely. They'd become their own band. It was just the two of them, and they'd gone blonde, which wasn't really a look for them. They're Irish blonde.
Yeah,
always
it doesn't work.
on them. But yeah, I remember, and I've worked with loads of people. Like I've come into London, totally disabused me of any idea that success meant that you didn't have to work.
Yeah.
Like-
That's just the sadness of it, isn't it? Yeah. Like it's the Talisa of it all. Do you know what I mean? Like, always just that's what I always,
Talisa.
whenever anyone says like, oh, what's meant for you won't pass you by, and like if you just work hard, you'll get it. I'm like, tell that to Talisa. Just
Lady
tell that to
boss.
Talisa, she was absolutely robbed.
So far, we've had 2 new terms. You've been in 5 minutes. Siobhan and Tulisad.
Oh my God, Talisa should have been the British Lauryn Hill, and she was absolutely robbed.
Oh, wasn't there a Britney song that she actually
Scream and shout.
Scream and Shout? It was her song, and Will.i.am just went, no, I'm going to take that.
Yep.
Even
Yeah.
if it was Talisa's.
Didn't a lot of that happen to Rita Ora? And
Who?
yeah,
Poor Rita Ora.
poor Rita Ora.
But not poor Rita Ora. She's everywhere. Like
In fact, she's had a good career.
Rita
It's
Ora
just-
does not
How?
struggle.
No.
How? Okay, can I tell you my Rita Ora story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I went to a gay pride festival years ago, and
Just the one?
just the one, all right. And Rita Ora performed, and I swear to God, she killed the vibe completely. She was terrible. She was absolutely
In
terrible.
what way terrible? Like she was a bad singer.
She could
performer.
sing, but she just didn't. She just whatever it was, she didn't have it. Khalees followed her, and it was like someone had turned a switch on. It was unbelievable.
Do you think she just checked out for it?
I know. I think she desperately wanted it, and the newspaper article the next day was how she had totally stormed the place. And I'm going, there wasn't a person that was glad that she was on that stage.
It's just surprising. Like, why are the papers behind Rita Ora as well? It's like, you know, she used to, like, there was a gap year for Tyra Banks, and Rita Ora presented America's Next Top Model.
Did she?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
They
kidding me.
revamped it. Like, Rita Ora gets jobs. I don't know what she has over someone, but I love her for it. I'm like, yeah, you go.
That's a
You
conspiracy
hustle.
theory right there.
She's done a deal with someone somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know whether she was with Taika Waititi by that point. Like, that's definitely helped her. Like,
yeah.
It definitely opens a lot
Yeah.
of doors, I reckon.
Fairly recent, her marrying him.
Yeah.
But were
What
they
else have you-
together? Like, was he
suppose.
helping her? Like,
He
I just think good for her.
Absolutely.
Do you know she was nearly a sugar babe?
that
I
makes perfect
reckon.
sense.
So she auditioned for the same Eurovision that Jay Ewan did.
Ah, yes,
There was
yes.
like a competition show on the BBC. And I'm pretty sure there was a time when Rita Ora was considered to replace one of the sugar babes.
Yeah, makes
That
sense.
is literally just a me conspiracy theory. It's not backed up by anything else, but I just have a feeling.
Welcome to Believe, the Sugar Babes podcast. So that leads us naturally on to aquatic apes.
We missed the link though when you were talking about werewolves.
Yeah,
and hair.
it was in my head.
I was thinking,
and then we
but
moved
then I
on
was
from
like,
it. Yeah, absolutely.
I was trying to steer the tanker. I was.
So the story of human evolution is one of the most fascinating areas of scientific inquiry, drawing from fields such as anthropology, archaeology, genetics, and comparative anatomy. Among the theories proposed to explain the unique physiological and behavioral traits of Homo sapiens, one of the most controversial is the aquatic ape theory, AAT. Originally proposed in the mid-20th century, the AAT suggests that some aspects of human evolution were influenced by a semi-aquatic phase in our ancestors' development. Though largely dismissed by mainstream science, the theory continues to generate interest and debate due to its imaginative premise and the intriguing questions it raises about what makes humans unique. So, normally, as I said before, when guests come on, they just pick one they're interested in. You've read the book on this, though, haven't you?
I read the book when I was 16.
Yeah.
My biology teacher at college. This is why I didn't pass my biology exam, isn't it? Every answer was blubber. Yeah, he told us about it. I read it then, and I made it my personality.
Yeah.
Like, I would tell everyone about it, to the point that when I think there was a program on the time, maybe it was like a David Attenborough or something, about like early man or like evolution. And I wrote into Points of View to complain that they had not included Elaine Morgan's work within it and how they had completely bypassed.
Wow, okay,
the
that's
aquatic
obsession.
ape.
That is sugar babes level
Yeah.
obsession. I like it, though.
That's
Nice.
the level. I forgot how keen I was on it until I
What
saw
was it that
on the
pulled
list.
you into it? What was it about it that made you so intrigued?
That no one else was talking about it, and that it was convincingly written.
Yeah.
I mean, so Elaine Morgan's book was the one I read.
Yes,
because she sort of
correct,
like popularized it
yeah.
in like the 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was very convincingly writing. Although rereading it in the last couple of months, some of it I'm a bit like, oh, I was young. But I think because it came from a feminist point of view.
Yeah,
and I
very
found
much so.
that really convincing.
Yeah.
And, you know, as a young 16-year-old gay, I definitely related more to the feminism than the patriotism of the society at the time. Growing up in a small village in Devon where there were no gays.
Oh, the hardship.
Yeah. I mean, it was very white people problems, but they were real problems.
They were real. It's all relative. This is one you wanted to do for a long time, haven't you?
Yes, because I love the origins of humanity. We keep finding about every year and a half we keep finding new offshoots of humanity.
Yep.
Like Homo forensis, which is the Hobbit. We found that about 20 years ago. Denisovan man and all that. So we keep finding these new species that ended. So I'm really on board with the aquatic ape idea. It doesn't necessarily mean that we came from it, but like it's definitely out there.
Oh, I'm hook, line, and sinker, believe in it. I also read when I was about that age, and I don't know whether I've imagined this, but I definitely read a novel, like a teen fiction novel that was like 2 timescales going on at the same time. So it was like a young girl that was like living by the beach or something. I can't remember what her storyline was, but like alongside that, there was like a young girl growing up, like aquatic ape. Like she was connecting with dolphins, like she could teach the dolphins, but like it used all of like the aquatic ape
ethos,
theory
yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
But I would not know how to find that book. If anyone has it, please DM me.
Well, I can understand that because there is quite a lot of overlap there. I mean, so the aquatic ape theory was first introduced by marine biologist Alistair Hardy in 1960 in an article published in The New Scientist. However, it was Elaine Morgan, as you said, a Welsh writer and popular science author who became the most prominent advocate of the theory. In a series of books, starting with The Descent of Woman, Morgan popularised the idea and brought it into the public consciousness. Hardy and Morgan argued that certain human traits, which seem anomalous when compared to other terrestrial primates, and make more sense if humans had adapted to a semi-aquatic environment during a key phase of their evolutionary history. According to this theory, the adaptations occurred after the human lineage split from other great apes, but before the emergence of fully modern humans. So this is a kind of in-between phase in evolution. It's essentially what they're talking about, isn't it?
We sort of dipped our toe in the waters.
Yep.
And then climate's changed a bit, and we sort of went, let's leave it for a minute. Let's
Yep.
go back to the trees.
Yep.
And that's why we're like not full dolphin, but we are like semi-dugong.
Yeah, but we are. There's whenever a baby's born, it knows it can swim immediately.
Yeah.
And also our fingers crinkle when we get wet.
Yeah.
And that's not the reason that happens is so that we can grab things easier in water. Why did we evolve that? That's an unusual thing. So like I definitely think there's credence to this.
I don't know, but how long do we think this period lasted for? A long time?
Really bad at I've dived into it all a bit more, and like when they start talking about timescales, I'm just like, yeah.
Well, modern humanity is about, a time depth of about 70 million, 70,000. It's actually not that long ago.
Okay.
So, like civilization's about 70,000.
But you're quite convinced that this period happened?
Yeah, I mean, because I think the conversation around I've gotten very serious all of a sudden. I think because I'm a big.
This is a very serious topic.
Very serious.
I think we sort of ignore a lot of stuff, and this certainly makes sense. I mean, the fact that we're
especially ignored when it's from Welsh women.
and they're hard to ignore.
Yeah.
We've got a Welsh friend.
Got a Welsh friend, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can tell by the accent. But I mean, the thing is, a part of the reason that she gets, I mean, it was quite well received, her text, in lots of ways. However, there was a lot of criticism from various areas of the scientific community.
Yeah,
but
because she's not a scientist.
She's not a scientist, and it's hard to separate whether that's sexism. Inevitably, some of it almost certainly would have been, but actually. It's had a bit of a renaissance in recent decades, is that people have revisited and said, okay, well, we don't believe everything here, but there are elements of this that are that could be quite legitimate, and it is actually quite an interesting text. It's kind of come back into fashion in a way, which is good.
But I think what happened was it's
also well written as well. That's the other thing.
It is quite well written,
Yeah.
although there's so much of it, especially in the first book where you're like, girl, you're so like she does this whole chapter about how women don't like penises. Like it's really lengthy, and she's like literally she says things like, you would I'm not going to do a Welsh accent. She says like, you would never get a group of women going to ogle the male penis, or in the same way that men will go to strip clubs, you would never get that from women. And it's like, girl, you are going to love 2025. Head yourself down to London. You will be spoiled for choice. There will be Magic Mike. There'll be Rip-Off Mike. The Dream Boys have got tribute acts. It is a good time to be alive, girl.
Yeah.
But so like lots of things like that are wrong. But then like when she got ripped down for the book being sort of just prose, and it is poorly referenced, she then went on to train herself to become like a paleontologist, basically, and a scientist. And then her preceding books became like much more.
She totally Aaron Brockovich did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It really is like evolution for Huns. It's like Darwin in the City. Do you know what I mean? But I love that about it.
I mean, she has been incredibly successful as an author, so you've got to give it, if there must be something in it that pulls you in. So key arguments of the aquatic ape theory. The proponents of the AAT cite several human traits that they believe suggest an aquatic or semi-aquatic ancestry. These include bipedalism. While bipedalism is typically seen as an adaptation for walking on open savannas, AAT theorists propose it may have developed as an efficient way to move in shallow water, allowing early hominins to keep their heads above water while wading.
But doesn't that make so much more sense than the hunter-gatherer
does
theory?
make sense, yeah.
She makes a good point where she's like, why would a four-legged creature suddenly be like, oh, someone's going to attack me. I know, I'm going to pick up a rock. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. 4 legs are much quicker than 2. Why would it be quicker? Like, we can't outrun anything.
Yeah.
No, but I mean,
Well, you're pretty fit, Aaron. I mean, you probably could, to be
yeah,
fair.
you're intimidating.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Oh my God, did you need to bring your guns out? My
Look,
God,
this is about evolution. I wanted to prove that gays are the
Look
ultimate
how hairless he
evolution.
is.
I did not veet this morning. This is just adaptation.
He's smooth as a dolphin.
I have evolved for the nightclub.
Well, one of the reasons behind humanity walking upright is so that we could hunt during the day. We can't outrun anything, but we have the stamina to last and hunt things down.
Is that true?
Yeah. Like humanity, like we have got stamina over almost any other animal.
Okay.
Like by a significant margin. One of our closest rivals would actually be wolves, wolves became our closest human ally. So
People of Coventry.
People of Coventry, yeah. But so the standing is being upright during the midday sun, you're only getting hit on the head.
Rather than like the whole of your body taking the heat.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I also take the being upright and wading in water also makes sense. Mm-hmm. And especially if nursing a child. Why not both?
And like you see other apes do it, like that go into the water,
Yep.
they go onto 2 feet. And like I was listening to this podcast, David Attenborough, so it must be true, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
This is how gullible I am. I didn't realize David Attenborough and Richard Attenborough weren't the same people till maybe about 2-3 years ago when one of them died.
Yeah.
Like, because he's in Jurassic Park, like, doesn't that just make sense that should be David Attenborough?
Yeah.
Blew my mind. They did this
Were you
study.
watching Jurassic Park as a documentary?
It's not. Another thing I truly believe. Jurassic Park happens. It's somewhere out there.
Okay.
But it was talking about the way that we walk and how like bipedalism, like to start walking like on land would be really unbalanced, but doing it in the water is like really supported. And like the way that we actually walk suggests that as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Hairlessness is another big one on this one.
Yeah.
I am so grateful to the aquatic
I
ape for
don't
that.
doubt that. Humans are largely hairless compared to other primates. AAT proponents argue that this is similar to other aquatic or semi-aquatic mammals like whales, dolphins, and hippos, which lost their body hair for streamlined swimming. Now, you're not an authority on this.
No, because I'm very hairy.
Very hairy man.
I am hirsute.
But you are much more dolphin.
But that's because you're the hunter-gatherer and I was just laying around at the beach like, I'm gonna make home, don't you worry, I'll have the stew done.
You're a twunk and I'm a bear. Yeah, that's our species.
I'll take that.
But that's quite a strong argument, isn't it?
That he's a twunk? Oh, definitely. Look at him. Come on.
I'm not gonna argue.
Fair.
I think it's a layer of subcutaneous fat that goes with it, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's
Yes,
that we've
yes.
lost the hair, which the lots of savannah theorists
Yep.
say is because like we were overheating doing all that hunting, like
Yeah,
all running around all day, we had to lose the hair. But you don't see other animals that do that, like lions and things like that. They haven't lost the hair in that way. The hair just changes. And no other land animal has then developed a layer of subcutaneous fat, which is just to protect the heat and keep it in. So it doesn't make sense that the two go together. And then Elaine will wang on for days about the hair, where we've kept the hair. So like the top of the head,
Yep.
as you said, like if you're like under savannah lights, that sort of protects you. The hair keeps you protected. And like long hair for women would be particularly useful because the babies could like cling onto it. But then that just doesn't explain why I have a hairy bumhole, which takes up a lot of my time to dolphin-esque it. So someone needs to dig deep, not into my bumhole, but into the reasons for why someone would keep a hairy bumhole.
Yeah.
I have often wondered why that's part of the body that's hairy. I imagine actually overall it helps keep it clean.
Not true, mate.
Like,
I feel like a dolphin bumhole is much cleaner.
yeah, but then things. This
Imagine if
gross
dolphins had
spread.
really hairy asses. The one place.
We don't know. I've never
We don't.
seen
Yeah,
I've
seen
never been that
dolphins
close to a dolphin.
That's true.
No, I don't know. I want to throw something in here.
Go.
So you're talking about subcutaneous fat. There's another theorist about the origins of humanity. So we're talking about the aquatic ape theory as an origins for humanity. But there are other theories, and one of them is that we are a pig-chimp hybrid.
Right?
Now, that sounds ridiculous because it's out there. However, if you look at what humanity is, if we look at what a human is, we share a number of characteristics with pigs.
Especially a lot of my exes.
Absolutely. We were talking about that before the show. The carbohydrates signature of our fat.
Yep.
The way our liver and intestines, or the way our kidneys and intestines are, very, very, very similar to pigs. Our hair distribution as well is very, very similar to pigs. And it's a really weird thing to say we're pig-chimp hybrids, but it's out there.
But that's Elaine Morgan would say that pigs were also semi-aquatic. So
This is what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Are we talking about aquatic chimp pig hybrids?
See, we don't know. We don't know.
We were so skilled back in the day.
Because the thing is, what I'm suggesting with pig chimp hybrids is that pigs and chimps interbred.
No.
And that's fucking weird. That's fucking weird.
No, because it doesn't happen like that.
No, it doesn't happen. But the
sustain life.
topology's there. The topology's there. Like if you look at us, that's what a human being is. It's a pig, chimp, or a bonobo pig hybrid.
I think you're saying the right thing, but you've drawn the wrong conclusion. It's more that we've dimorphized in the same way. So you've gone through the same thing, like we've gone through water or whatever together, and then we've been separated so that one has become the like chimp thing and one has become the pig thing. So like maybe we shared an ancestor,
Well, there is
rather
as
than
mammals
we
did.
grew together and then blended the best of both.
Yeah, but that's there's a really good book which is available online. You don't have to buy the book. Well, you can't buy the book.
Support independent authors.
Support independent authors. Dr. Eugene McCarthy.
Okay.
A different origin of the species, and he talks about that. He's saying that this is what the evidence suggests.
Yeah.
You've actually given one of the elements. We went through the same process.
Yeah.
But I love the idea that we're pig chimp hybrids. I love that we're aquatic apes. I love panspermia. I love all that. Oh, panspermia is the idea that DNA came from outer space.
Oh, that one's new to me.
Yeah, panspermia.
There will be some leaps in there, just so you know.
Watson and Crick agreed with panspermia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just throws them in.
I like the way that you two were able to give each other a look that says, end it.
Oh, this poor man has to put up with so much.
This is, I mean, you should see some episodes. Anyway, subcutaneous fat. So like you said, unlike most land mammals, humans have a thick layer of subcutaneous fat similar to aquatic mammals like seals and dolphins. This fat layer could provide insulation in water. So you're right. I think we're the only creature that has that, or to
The only land one, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because we consider ourselves a land animal. But actually, that David Attenborough documentary I listened to said something like 70% of the world's population lives by the coast. So we actually choose to be
Close to the water?
Close to the water.
It is nicer though.
Well, I grew up by the beach. So yeah.
Can
But that layer of subcutaneous fat is an absolute bugger. That is the reason why I struggle to have a six-pack all the time. I have gone on so many diets to get rid of this layer of subcutaneous fat. And all I say to my ancestors is, the hair, thank you. But the fat, like, come on.
you.
There's
Fuck
other
you.
ways to cool down, girl.
Yeah.
Such a diva. Okay. Voluntary breath control and diving reflex. Humans possess the ability to hold their breath voluntarily and exhibit a mammalian diving reflex, which includes slowed heart rate and blood flow redistribution when submerged. Traits shared with aquatic mammals.
Yeah, free divers. Mm-hmm. You know, and there's, I wish I could remember the name of this. There's a tribe that they live on water.
Yep.
And their oxygen blood level is higher than normal. So they can dive for like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Just doing it.
Did you watch the free diving documentary? I think it was on Netflix.
No.
Oh my God, it's mental.
I don't know. I don't like the idea of deep water. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when you're going through it and like you see like the videos and stuff, it starts getting dark. Like I'm so jumpy. I'm like really bad with scary movies. I have to watch them with a boyfriend that covers my face, which is the way that they prefer me anyway. I'm just scared something's going to jump out, so I wouldn't watch that. Like that.
Okay, but when you watch something like that and you realise how physically capable we are of holding our breath for a very, very long time at the absolute peak of it does kind of lend itself to this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. On that one, I don't know. Just because if you ever, when you go to a spa, and you try and do that cold water thing. Like I've been really working on it recently. I treated myself to a spa this week just because someone told me it was good for your skin, and then someone else was like, no, it's good for your heart. And I was like, well, I don't care about my heart. I just want good skin. But I've been trying to do that, and it's really hard. Like I know people can teach this breath control stuff, but it is hard.
It is hard. Okay, so descended larynx. That's the word.
I don't think my larynx is descended. That is something I'm still waiting for.
The human larynx is positioned lower in the throat compared to other primates, which establishes complex vocalization. AAT advocates suggest this could be linked to breath control developed in an aquatic environment.
Yeah.
Interesting one, that.
I mean, other primates can make like vocal noises, and there is a very in-depth vocal range, communication from chimps, bonobos, and gorillas, and what have you.
Caesar.
Oh my God, wonderful.
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, the original and the remake.
I was genuinely thinking you were talking about some like actual scientific ape. It took me a real long minute there to realise you were like Helena Bonham Cartering it.
She's so great though, even though I don't like Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
No, it's not great.
I love her in it, but I love the original Planet of the Apes 5 movies. They're amazing. But the idea that the larynx is further down is to do with holding breath, and that's what's allowed us to create speech, and words are the first technology.
And that's the real difference, I think, between us and the other apes is that control over language, isn't it? Like, oh, sorry, I just knocked the table. It's like so much vaster in us, and there has to be a big reason for that. And like, the idea of being in the water and like, if you're on land, you can see and communicate what's in the room. Like if there's something that you need to point, like you two were doing there, silencing each other with just your looks. You can't do that as well in water. Like if there's a predator under the water or like something that you want to eat under the water.
Yeah, but you can't give a little nod.
You can't just nod to it because the person on the shore is like,
what?
Why are you nodding?
Yeah.
So you have to develop other ways, and like language would be like an obvious one to do that.
Yeah. Which is that's a fair counter argument. Forward-facing nostrils and facial structure. Some claim that the human nose, with its downward-facing nostrils, evolved to prevent water from entering during swimming, unlike the flat nasal structure of apes. I don't know. Have you ever had water up your nose?
Yeah, it's unpleasant.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thoughts on this one?
I hate water up my nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am so bad with water up my nose that when I was like 7 or whatever age you are when school take you to swim for the first time, I am such an idiot.
You did the nose peg?
No, I'd been in a pool once with my dad and just assumed that meant I could swim. So they asked everyone that could swim to show that they could swim, and I just got in and like nearly drowned. And someone had to jump in and rescue me. First gay experience. No. And now I look like an idiot.
Though.
And then, but like that all went up my nose, and then that was one thing I really hated.
Yeah.
I'm not sure all noses are sort of like flat and forward. Like I've dated guys, you know those pictures with the eyes that follow you around the room?
Yeah.
I've dated guys that had noses like that, just all over. So I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. Webbing between fingers and toes. Although humans don't have full webbing, the slight webbing between our fingers and toes is sometimes cited as a possible vestige of aquatic adaptation.
Well, here's the thing. If you spend enough time in water, you do develop webbed toes.
Really?
And so I was listening to a thing that was saying that people that swim more develop like a bone in their ear that blocks water going in. And it's like, it's very well documented. So like ENT people, ears, nose and throat people, when they do like examinations, they can go, oh, you're obviously a keen swimmer because you've developed it. It happens in like 2 or 3% of the population, but like 60% of high swimming populations.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. So our body is constantly adapting then?
Yes. And they have, in the last 10 years, found fossil skeletons that have those bones in their ears, which suggests that they probably were diving. But some people dispute it because they say, oh, it was from an infection, but it's on both sides, so it's like equal, which suggests that it suggests it's an adaptation.
Kevin Costner in Waterworld.
But the webbing one, I think, is a really fun one to tell people, because I don't know if you've, like in the last week or so, like said to people, oh, I'm doing a thing about the aquatic apes. And everyone I say is like, the what?
Yeah.
The what?
Yeah.
They expect me to just talk about the Spice Girls all the time.
To be fair, you kind of have though.
Jerry Halliwell was the first aquatic ape. She threw the first brick to the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I believe the webbing one, like, because it's so slight, but it is a really good one. You're telling someone, oh, the aquatic ape theory. So really, you can say about the hairless, you can say about the fat, and then you can say the webbing, and people will look at that.
So what explains, you know, when people have, like, you get people who have webbed feet. How do we explain that? Is that just...
Which, and then we drown them. But they won't drown
But they
because
won't
they're
drown
webbed.
because they're
Yeah. They'll free dive, and then they'll resurge. I believe that.
Okay. So scientific reception and criticisms. Despite its imaginative arguments, the aquatic ape theory has been met with significant skepticism and rejection from the mainstream scientific community. The main criticisms include the lack of fossil evidence. There is little to no fossil evidence supporting a semi-aquatic phase in human evolution. Most hominin fossils are found in inland or savanna-like environments rather than near ancient shorelines or aquatic habitats.
Yeah, but that's because they were only looking for them there.
I agree with that. And also...
That's like me being like, oh my God, I never ever hear rock music when I go out. And it's like, yes, Aaron, that's because you're in drag bars.
yeah. You've got to put yourself
You've got to put yourself in the situation to find it, right?
Agreed. And also, like, some of this is going to be right at the bottom of the sea, right? And we still don't have great technology in terms of getting to the real depths of the
Well, I
ocean.
think it depends where the water masses were at the time.
Yeah. Also, we don't have a lot of primate skeletons. We don't have like chimpanzee or gorilla skeletons, really. Certainly not fossilized ones. Like a fossil is a rare thing, even though we've got so many of them. But that's because there's been so much life.
Okay.
And is it harder for something to become fossilized in water anyway because it would get like pulverized
Yeah.
and turned into like sand and shell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been that one off then. Fine, good. Convergent evolution misinterpretation. Critics argue that similar traits in aquatic animals and humans do not necessarily imply a shared lifestyle. For example, subcutaneous fat in humans may be an adaptation to cold climates or energy storage rather than aquatic life.
But is this just like when they find like two fossils of men hugging each other in a volcano like mess and they're like, it does not imply that they were gay. They may just have been roommates.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like a lot of what comes back as that can't be real is like, is this just because men didn't like that a woman challenged them?
True.
Even though the original theory came from like two men.
Yes. It is about, and this has come before on the podcast, is who's writing the history, right?
Right.
And what's their interpretation of what they found.
Yeah. And we hate women.
We don't.
We don't.
I also think it's hilarious that 3 white cis men are debating a feminist theory of evolution. Like,
Listen,
could we have done this?
Someone needs to mansplain it.
Sorry, Elaine. I know you wrote 4 books, but look, we're here to make it popularized. But when I went on,
She would have wanted it.
Yeah.
She would. This is what she didn't ask for it, but this is what you wanted.
One, yeah.
You needed a man to tell you. Now go forage. When I looked up on Reddit what people were saying about this, like everyone was really anti-aquatic ape. So I was like, oh, I might be the only person that believes this. Am I a mug? Like they were really against it on Reddit. But I think science is turning around now. They've started to find a lot more. I think
it is interesting how there are some conspiracy theories on Reddit and 4chan that in fact that's really where they fester. That's really where they grow. But there are some that I think it's down to the type of person that gets onto these forums that they really attack, and this is one. And I think, and I'm not saying this is definitely the case, but I think there might be something to do with the fact that it is so closely linked to a feminist movement.
yeah,
So I'm not saying that's definitely it,
because
but
especially
I think
Elaine
there's
Morgan's version of it is women were doing most of the work.
Yes.
Actually,
Yes, exactly
They did most of the adaptation. The men went out.
Yeah.
Did a bit of. They occasionally brought back meat, but a lot of the time they didn't. So they came back and danced for us and stuff instead. And it was the women that were doing all the mollusks and rearing the kids.
Yeah.
Getting rid of hair and developing. They were busy during that time, much like they are now, I'm sure.
very much so.
But I think women should be careful about getting parity. I am a bit scared about how much like parity like gay men have, because we could go to war with Russia and I really don't want to be conscripted. I am very against us having rights. I would like to roll them back a bit just so I don't have to go to war.
Oh, preach. I totally agree.
Right?
See this whole thing, like we're meant to be men. I'm not a man. I wasn't raised to be a man.
It
Actually
will
thinking
be-
we're not equal.
It will be awful for your skin. Put it that way.
Right.
War, right? Camouflage is not for me. I'm meant to stand
What is
out.
it good for? Not skin. Non-unique traits. Many of the traits cited by AAT proponents are not exclusive to humans or aquatic animals. Other terrestrial animals also exhibit breath control, hairlessness, or fat deposits.
Because they were in the water too.
Yeah.
Well, I have to
just
say,
picture,
when I
like-
read that, I did think that. I was like, well, okay, but that doesn't
mean
no
that they
one's
weren't in the
necessarily
water.
saying that we're exclusive here, particularly.
I just feel like the old evolution time was like, you know, like when you go to a hot tub
Yep.
on holiday and there's like Brits there, there's Germans there, there's Spanish. I just think it was like all the animals was just chilling in the hot tub. Maybe they just got straight off the ark and they were like all chilling together. Oh my God, is Noah's Ark not literally the Bible saying we came from the water?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Elaine, write that book. I know you're dead, but do it via
I
Ouija
think,
board.
well, we have to pick up the baton here. Alternative explanations. Mainstream evolutionary biology offers alternative, widely accepted explanations for the traits in question. For example, bipedalism is often linked to energy efficiency in long-distance travel. Not wading and hairlessness could be related to temperature regulation and parasite reduction.
But there's not a lot of evidence or like those theories are. I get that the aquatic ape theory has got a lot of holes and like a lot of weaknesses. But from what I've seen as an uneducated person, like as many weaknesses and holes as the other theories. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't.
You could-
Yeah, there are alternative theories, but they don't really present more. They've just been widely accepted. But there's a lot of things that we widely accept that then we're like, oh my God, that was actually really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there is a really strong argument to say that at some point in our lives, as in terms of the human race, we did spend it in water, or we spent it very, very close to water for a long time. It makes sense that in being in shallow pools, that you know, that we were protected, we saw where everything was coming, we were near a source of water, we were clean, all those sort of things. Like, I don't know, I think it's credible.
I think what holds it back as a theory is the aquatic. Like when we say aquatic ape, I think people imagine like
Living in underwater.
proper like Little Mermaid style.
Yeah.
Whereas realistically, it's more wading
Yes.
ape theory,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like we weren't like fully submerged, we weren't dolphin in it, but like we were in and out a lot. And I think when it's presented that way, people are more, because I think when it first came out, like the newspapers were like, we're closer to dolphins and apes and stuff, and people were like, oh, I'm not. But if you've ever seen that video of Mariah Carey singing to the dolphin, I believe it. I believe Mariah Carey actually was the first aquatic ape. That's how she gets her whistle
Is
registered.
that where she lives now? Does she live underwater?
Until Christmas.
Until Christmas.
I don't like actually lean. I regret saying that. It was an easy joke. Mariah Carey is busy all year round.
Waiting
but
for
she's
Christmas.
Busy, blessed and booked. She's doing Brighton Pride. I know that doesn't mean that you're busy, blessed and booked, but which will be there too. But Mariah, no one needs to worry about Mariah. She's written more She wrote more number ones than any other artist.
More than Madonna?
Yes, she's had 19 number ones. I believe she's written like 15 or 16 of them. Wrote. That's what everyone else forgets about Mariah Carey.
Yeah,
That's
she's
a conspiracy theory about Mariah Carey, that she's just a singer. She wrote.
She rewrote the. I mean,
melodies and those
once she appeared, everything changed. You know, even Whitney had to up her game. That's why you suddenly got her version of "I Will Always Love You," where she hits every note and every. You know,
Is that-
yeah.
I didn't
You
know that
can
one.
see a difference in how Whitney performed. Whitney always had that. Whitney was always a diva and belter and all that. But it's Mariah came on board and Whitney was like, "Oh, I have to show this bitch what I can do." That's really where it came from. Yeah. But Mariah was the one that brought in that version of Whitney, even though that did exist before, but like really the belter Whitney, the Whitney we all really love, Celine Dion, even arguably Adele and Amy Winehouse are all because of Mariah.
And Rita Ora. I love
And
how
Rita
much we've
Ora.
managed to turn the aquatic ape theory into a dissection of pop girlies. This is the level of feminism Elaine Morgan would have wanted. I
it is.
truly
It is.
believe.
Yeah, this is her legacy. Lack of predictive power. The AAT has not led to significant testable predictions that have been validated through research. It remains more speculative and anecdotal than empirical. Well, that is true. However, there's a lot about science that is just theory, isn't there?
I don't think that is true, actually. So in the last 15 years, that I think they have started to do more research around where there would have been water edges, and they found a lot of research around how we would have eaten a lot of fish. Like I listened to this thing about how we used to eat a lot of catfish, and that would have given us a lot of omega-3, which is why the brain grew so much. So that's another theory around how it developed. So I think, I don't know whether I think that's a subjective thing.
Catfishing has become very popular. Yeah. Modern reappraisal. Sorry, that was easy. But
I
it was
didn't even
the-
see it. That is not easy. You did a good job there.
Modern reappraisals and variants. In recent years, some researchers have attempted to reassess the AAT in a more nuanced way. So exactly as you were saying, rather than proposing a full aquatic phase, these scientists suggest that early hominins may have frequently used aquatic environments such as rivers and coastal regions for foraging, drinking, and cooling. This more moderate position is sometimes referred to as the waterside hypothesis.
Do you think this is why we love so much to go on holiday and you have one of those little cabins that walk straight into the pool?
Yeah.
Is that not just waterside ape theory?
And there must be something, because you're right about the fact that we're drawn to it, right?
Absolutely.
Why are we drawn to coastal areas? Why are we drawn to the sea? Because we can't drink seawater. So it makes sense in a river in terms of survival. But why are we drawn to coastal regions so much?
That was the other thing, wasn't it, about sweating, like how we sweat salt and other animals don't do it in the same way. I think we sweat differently. Our sweat
Yes,
glands
we
work
do.
differently. And the way that we cry. Elaine Morgan goes on a lot about crying, and I didn't really believe in that. But like,
No,
yeah.
men cry.
What?
I cry all the
time. Well, I can't remember what like apes don't cry or something, or some animals.
Not in the way humans do.
And
But-
elephants as well. Elephants don't cry, but there's this big theory around elephants crying. I'm walking into a different conspiracy, I realise.
But this idea, so
Tears of an elephant.
tears of an elephant.
But I think
Tears of a
that's where that
clown.
thing came from. But I think it is, people said they saw elephants cry and it was meant to be saying that they felt pain and stuff like that. Because imagine an animal feeling pain. We didn't believe that 30 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. But actually, I don't think that's biologically true. that they do.
Where elephants crying comes from is male elephants when they're in heat. There's a name for it when they're in musk. They look like they're crying because there's a gland behind their eye, and it looks like they're crying, but in fact it's a hormone, that pheromones, and they're horny and violent. They're very scary creatures when they're horny.
Which is actually when most men do cry.
Yeah, I cry after sex. Anyway, it's the shame.
Before.
No, but
During.
It's a good Catholic.
I finally like it.
I wouldn't know what to do. But
Good little
we were
Catholic
saying
boy.
about humanity going near water. And you've done psychology, so the seeing water. There's research in it helps elevate your mood. It helps break depressions. So I maybe revealing too much, but where I live, I make sure that I walk near lakes and rivers. So I'm very close to the Walthamstow wetlands, and I go there pretty much every day. And at the moment the weather's so gorgeous and there's swans everywhere, and you just see the water, and it really does make things better. And the sound of sound of lapping water is also I think it's to do with frequencies, how many hertz gogs or whatever they're called. I don't know, I've said that wrong. Will help with your mood. So
Yeah, because when you go for a massage, it's all like whale sounds and
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
like that,
true.
isn't it?
Very true.
But you're so right about what you say about water. Like, I've just been back to like Devon, which is where I grew up, and like my favorite thing to do there is like there's some nice bits, and not even like at the sea necessarily, but like some of the rivers and stuff.
Yeah.
There's just something about like that floaty surface of the water that just takes you out of it, and like it is just really relaxing and reassuring.
We do feel very at home, very at peace, as instinctively as humans. So there's something about it.
yeah, so if you're having a bad day, try and go see some water, and it can
Don't throw yourself in.
Don't throw yourself in.
Don't
but
do
Although
it.
you're fine because you can free dive.
But you'll see, but even somewhere like a canal or whatever, seeing running water will really help.
Yeah.
It is documented.
I mean, the counter argument to this, your theory about you prefer to walk by the wetlands, is that you don't want to walk through central Walthamstow.
Well, no, I'd be stabbed. To death.
Which is the equivalent of the savannah.
Exactly. So paleoanthropological evidence, I didn't know that was a word until today, has shown...
Say it again?
Paleoanthropological.
Ooh, say
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah. Has shown that early humans did exploit aquatic resources such as shellfish and fish. Some archaeological sites are located near ancient shorelines. However, this is not seen as a direct support for the AAT, but rather for a broader view that early humans were highly adaptable and made use of diverse environments.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. To be like, obviously, I love that it supports the theory that I believe, but I don't know if the we're eating fish or we're using tools to kill fish says that we were in the water. I mean, obviously, we're by it and we're like grabbing things from it, but I don't think that means we're sort of like living it out.
Yeah.
It obviously is adjacent.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sometimes
Sorry,
you
am I
just
really
agree.
standing on everyone's lines because I'm so passionate?
No,
about it?
not at all.
This is
Not at all.
fantastic.
Very good.
This is what gets us the podcast
She's read
award.
the fucking book. Oh my God. Finally,
Do you know
a
what?
guest
I was
that's read the
so
book.
worried about picking this one because I suddenly thought, have I picked the stupidest one to
No,
come on
no,
to? 'Cause I
no.
thought, who is going to be interested in this? I think it is literally just me.
Oh, trust me. We
Yeah.
just put an episode out on whether Katy Perry is actually Katy Perry. This is
I
not
know, I
the
can't
stupidest
wait
thing
to
we've ever done. In no way is this the stupidest one
Those
we've
are
ever
the
done.
kind of conspiracy theory. I can't. This is no one is going to expect that I've come on to talk about aquatic apes because they'll be like, Aaron will come on to talk about whether Avril Lavigne is really Avril Lavigne or
She's not.
whether
Oh,
Jade.
I love that you picked this. And it wasn't what I thought you'd pick, but as soon as
Yeah.
you said
Well,
that you read
we
the
did
book-
think you go with some pop culture. And,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Look at me branching out.
It's
Beautiful.
fantastic.
Don't tell anyone I'm
And
clever.
yet you seamlessly linked it into pop culture.
I just think, and you probably agree, like, I think pop culture is so important because it tells you so much about human behavior.
Absolutely,
The same way that this
absolutely,
does.
yes.
And, like, you can draw a lot of parallels from those things. So I'm
Completely.
never going to feel bad about bringing a pop girly into it.
Rightly so. Cultural impact and legacy. Despite its lack of scientific support, the aquatic ape theory has had a significant cultural impact. Elaine Morgan's writings brought feminist perspectives into discussions of human evolution, challenging the then dominant male-centered narratives that focus on hunting and the primary driver of human development. She questioned why nurturing, birthing, and other female-associated behaviors were often sidelined in evolutionary models.
And I think that was a really good thing that she said. Mm-hmm. You know, she was very clear about what she wanted to say.
Yeah.
But the idea that women didn't have like a function in how we developed is ridiculous. Like cave paintings, most likely done by women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's a very important. It is very like I believe in the human race, but we often get referred to as just man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I love a man, but it's not just man. It's all of us, you know. And I like that she made this claim. You know, what about child rearing? What about the sense of community? I think she made good points, even if I don't necessarily agree with everything that she said. Mm-hmm. And I also just love the idea of Aquaman ape.
Aquawoman ape.
Aquawoman.
It's just wild to me that no one had considered that before, really. Like, that it took some Welsh author to, like, read a paper and just be like, hang on a minute.
sec,
Why
yeah,
is no one...
yeah.
Where are the women?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. And she was kind of like... so the book, like, all other, like, books at that time had been written, like, he, talking about, like,
Yes.
the original
Yeah.
ape. And she, you know, makes a deliberate point to be like, she. And I just love, you know... in the 70s being a pronoun queen. Like, anyone worried about mine, I'm he, him, hun. But like, it's just one of those, isn't it? Like, who is talking about that in that way? And I don't know how much now is done, like, in evolutionary theory, where people talk about, like, the role of the woman and that.
I mean, in terms of human lineage, it's the mitochondrial Eve that we follow. It's not the man, because men are disposable. Men are the experiments in evolution. We're gay men, like, you know.
We are absolutely
You know,
disposable.
and he acts like a gay man. So like,
Throw a banana in.
I mean, I'm not going to war. Let's face it.
Putin might be the first person to get me to reveal my real age. That is where we're at. But that's what I think we should do next, right? So she did The Descent of Woman. I think we should do, like, an evolutionary theory from the gay man's point of view. Like, I think we are being very maligned and overlooked as, like, the community.
Yeah.
Do you know how many children that aren't even blood relatives of mine that I'm an uncle to and I am rearing?
that's literally what that's what we are. We're the non-breeding adults that help the kids survive.
The
That's what we
village.
are. We're
Yeah.
the village. It takes a village, you know. And
As a former child, I just want to thank you for that contribution.
I know. How are these kids going to see Taylor Swift and the Sugar Babes without a consenting adult?
right? Like we do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Elaine Morgan died in 2013. She was a writer, television dramatist, and science communicator. I think one of the reasons she got a bit of flack is because she was they were written not as works of fiction, but she was purple. Yeah, that was exactly it. Right. So they thought, well, this is a story rather than it's fact. But yeah, exactly as you say, the fact that she went back, revisited it, became qualified in the subject, became really knowledgeable in it. And then she had 4 books following that. So The Aquatic Ape in 1982, Scars of Evolution in 1990, Aquatic Ape Hypothesis in 97, and then Naked Darwinist in 2008. So she actually carried on writing books throughout her life, carried on supporting this cause. She never for all the flack that she took within the scientific community, she never stopped championing that. And as you said, actually, she became more and more informed, and the texts became more and more valid, didn't they? Which is pretty impressive.
I mean, this is
She's an impressive woman.
Yeah, I mean, like we're talking about this, and it's exciting. I actually want to read one of those. I think I own one of those books. Anyway, my point is that often happens. Like Diane Fossey, Gorillas in the Mist, Sigourney Weaver played her. Her research, even though it wasn't from an academic point of view, it was she actually helped with primatology and what gorillas were doing and keeping them safe, even though she didn't have the academia behind her.
Yeah.
And yet she did some of the best work. Like there's a reason we remember her, apart from the fact that she was murdered. And I think that it's very easy to dismiss, you know.
Yeah.
But I love that she went in and went, right, I'm gonna figure this all out.
But
Get the science behind it.
A lot of like our key evolutionary theorists weren't like trained in that area, and that's what is it Hardy, the first guy?
Yep.
He says in the foreword for her second book, he sort of goes on as a scientist to like give her a bit of credence.
Yes.
And he says like the people that we base our evolutionary theory on weren't trained in that way. Like Darwin failed and then went on to do other things.
Yeah.
Like Mendel, who came up with the whole like what is it, your chromosomes mixing. He was just a monk that loved beans. Like he was just a bean loving monk that just loved growing his little beans and loved writing in a spreadsheet. He was like the original nerd.
Yeah.
And he was just writing down all the little beans, long versus short, and then mixing them up and being like, oh my God, look, 2 long beans can get a short bean. And like that has literally changed everything we know. And he was just a monk. Not just a monk, but like it's very
Well, he's
Whoopi
more than a
Goldberg.
monk.
But
Sister Act vibes.
what I love about Mendel is people saying, well, autism, it's a new thing. Going, that's clearly autistic behavior. That's clearly, why did these two things? And he figured it all out, you know, and he's great.
Yeah, we should let more autistic people just go off into their gardens and they will create things.
What is life without obsession?
Also, just hearing them read out, each one of Elaine Morgan's books had a banging title.
Yeah,
I don't
they
think
were
she's getting
strong.
enough credit for that.
They were strong.
The
Absolutely.
naked Darwinist.
She knew about marketing.
Scars of Evolution.
Absolutely.
That's the one I want to read.
Oh yeah. But I do think like there's credit. Like, why does everything have to be scientific? Like, scientific journals and things are quite dry. They don't make much of a breakthrough. She was writing like populist books, and like that is much more engaging.
Yeah.
But I've got a question, and I don't know if you're going to get to it, but. So we're talking. So she's sort of writing this in the 70s, and I think that the original guy, it was in the 30s. He sort of proposed it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think
60s, but yeah.
Oh no, there was another guy in the 30s
yes,
then that wrote a
yeah,
short paper, and then Hardy then went on and did this speech basically in the 60s in Brighton and like exposed his thinking about it, and then everyone went wild. So what's that, like 50, 60 years? How long have we had the like that sort of bipedal hunter-gatherer theory for? When did that come about?
I guess that would go back to early 19th century, I would imagine, or late 18th.
Because what I'm saying is, have we just not had enough time for the aquatic ape theory to sort of take
its
hold
time,
and
maybe.
breaking into things?
I mean, evolution.
Thank God we're doing this podcast.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that we're the ones, but look, I saved the Sugar Babe's career. I saved Talisa's career. Elaine, you next, girl. You're next.
JD, you told us all about her travails, you know. But the idea of evolution is still relatively new. So the idea that we haven't explored it all is definitely there.
Yeah, true. I mean, some of her critics acknowledge her skill as a writer and communicator. Evolution biologist Richard Dawkins, while skeptical of AAT, praised Morgan's ability to make science accessible and to provide important questions. In 2013, shortly before her death, she was made an officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, for her services to literature and education. In 2015, a statue of Elaine Morgan was erected in Mountain Ash, Wales, as part of a movement to commemorate overlooked women in science and literature.
Oh my God, she was a woman in STEM.
Yep.
We need more of them. She made science fun. I love that. She was like the original Carol Vorderman.
So the aquatic ape theory remains a controversial and largely rejected hypothesis in the field of human evolution. While it highlights some curious aspects of human anatomy and behavior, most of its claims are considered speculative and unsupported by the fossil record or genetic evidence. Nonetheless, it plays an important role in expanding the dialogue about human origins and challenging researchers to think creatively about our evolutionary past. As our understanding of early hominins deepens with new discoveries, the possibility that water-based activities played some role in shaping our ancestors may be re-evaluated, but not in the totalizing way the original AAT proposed. So, Aaron, did aquatic apes exist?
100%. I mean, did anyone think I was going to say it? Imagine if after all that I was like, look, it's a good joke, but let's be real. I'm glad you made your money out of it, Elaine, but it ain't happening for me. I 100% believe it. Well, I always did believe it. And then when I said I'd do this, I looked into it a bit and then I was like, oh my God, maybe I've been wrong for 20 years. And then I turned a corner and I'm back again.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you've had a journey with this week. David, did aquatic apes exist?
I think there's a really good argument for it. So I would tentatively yes.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you that I think there is something in this.
Yeah.
I think there was definitely a stage of evolutionary history where we had metamorphosized. How that's manifested into where humans are today, I don't know. But there seems to be something in it.
I think we should send some people back just to test them. You know, like how we used to send people to Australia? Like, let's just send people into
Do we not still do that?
the Cornish Oceans and see how they adapt.
Yeah. Not very well, having
I'm
been
cool
in
with
them.
that.
we sent people to Australia and we got Kylie out of it. So I think that was.
You know what I mean?
What a trade-off.
She played Madison Square Gardens last night. Oh.
We sent people to Australia and we got married at first sight. That is what, let's be real. Reality TV is so much better when it goes to Australia.
That is actually true.
Do you know why that is?
That is evolution.
Do you know why that is?
Yeah.
Because they don't have laws about protecting people in Australia. So they can do whatever they want. And over here, oh my God, we have to just in case, you know, mental health and things.
What if they died? Like, yeah.
In 20 years' time, we will look, in 10 years, in a couple of years, we're going to look back on Australian reality TV and be like, we shouldn't have been watching that. That wasn't good. But while we can still enjoy it.
Oh my God, let's enjoy
I
it.
am in.
Aaron, would you like to look at this camera, tell people where they can find you, follow you, all that kind of stuff?
Hi, I live in Leeds at 182. You can follow me at Aaron Twitchen. It's Twitchen like kitchen, but without the K. It's a really difficult surname to spell. I should have rebranded something.
You don't do K?
I actually don't. I'm such a good boy. I'm too scared of anything like that affecting with my adapted features. Ever since Daniela Westbrook lost her nose, I've always been like, no to drugs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it might solve your hairy asshole problem.
I do not have a hairy bumhole
Sorry.
problem. I
Sorry.
put a lot of work into not. I want the people to know. There is nothing down there.
Would you
One
like,
minor hemorrhoid.
Would you like an aquatic ape joke to end the podcast? Yes. Okay. Yes. Why did the aquatic ape break up with its land-dwelling cousin?
I'm really bad at working these out, by the way.
Too many dry conversations.
Did you write that?
God, no. That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.
If you like the podcast and fancy extra episodes and early access every week, why not join our Patreon? Just £5 a month and you'll be helping support the pod. Remember, we love you. Bye.